Catherine, what is it that got you interested in applying to Alcoa's grad program?
So originally I'm from Queensland, and in my final year of university, I was having a look around for different graduate programs, and I noticed that with Alcoa, it's actually a 3-year rotational program, whereas a lot of the companies in Queensland are only a 2-year rotational program. Some of them don't even actually have a rotation. So I definitely thought that was something that I would be very interested in doing, because the more rotations you have, the more exposure you have to different areas. And I thought that that would have been a great step into my career.
Hey, Catherine, can you give me a high-level walkthrough of the application process to the grad program at Alcoa?
With the Alcoa graduate program, I know for a lot of you in WA, the standard process is to initially have a video pre-recorded interview where you answer a set of questions in a pre-recorded time. Then a lot of the time you do a psychometric testing, and finally you have an assessment center where you get tested on how well you interact with people and how well you work in a team. Finally, references, and then pretty much doing a medical after that. That's the standard process. For me, for anyone that's from interstate, I know you don't do the assessment center and you just do a Microsoft Teams interview that's individual.
If you can recall, what was the hardest part of the application process to the grad program at Alcoa?
Initially, I'd probably say the medical was the most difficult. That took quite a few hours to complete, as it was a very thorough medical exam. After that, definitely the whole moving process from Queensland to Western Australia, that was definitely the most difficult aspect.
So what was probably then the trickiest part of the interview process to the grad program at Alcoa, and how did you handle it?
During the interview was, what would you do in a situation where someone was performing a task unsafely? And I had done a few interviews before that, but I never received a safety related question. So that sort of did throw me off a little bit. And I answered on the spot, and I just said I would voice my concern to the person that's doing the unsafe task, let them know why I think it's unsafe, and if they agree or not, then they can stop doing it. If they don't stop doing it, then I would go ahead and report it to their supervisor.
What was the number one thing that got you successfully through the grad application process to the grad program at Alcoa?
Firstly, I was fortunate enough to get to some interview stages for some other companies. And so with that, I had a practice with learning how to respond in a particular way to some questions, especially using the STAR method as well. I remember doing that for a few of the questions that they asked me, and just remaining calm, even though it is a very nerve-wracking process. And the other thing as well, the fact that I was willing to relocate to Western Australia, that was probably the biggest thing that got me through as well.
After getting hired into the grad program at Alcoa, what did your onboarding process look like in your first few days and weeks?
I had received the offer on the day of my graduation, and Alcoa had given me a month in order to relocate to Western Australia. So I actually started a little bit later than my other colleagues that were also graduates. Well, Alcoa was very nice, and they covered the relocation costs, which was very good, and they even paid my plane ticket as well. And along with that, they gave me Alcoa contacts to get in contact with the other graduates. And so I actually met them before I started work. And that really helped me to settle, because I'd never been to Western Australia and I was quite nervous with starting over here, since it was a brand new start really. And meeting those grads just made it so much better. So my first rotation was actually at the Huntley mine site, and I did about 13 months there in a mix of fixed plant and also mobile maintenance as well. And the team at fixed plant. They were so friendly, and that really just helped me to settle in even more.
Walk me through a day in your life as a mechanical engineer grad at Alcoa. What's it look like?
I'm currently at Pinjarra, one of the refineries. So for a day in a life, usually in the morning, I would attend, it's called a DVM meeting, where you have multiple supervisors, taggers, even the maintenance crew and other engineers in the room, where you discuss what the unplanned and planned breakdowns and actions are for the day and for the next coming days. And from there, usually I walk around site multiple times a day, as the office is only a 2-minute walk from my area that I've been designated. Within the area that I look after many different thickeners, tanks, pipe work, things like that. During the day, I work on my many projects and essentially design an AutoCAD where refitting a different type of valve in a set pipe work. I also standardize gearboxes, liaise with contractors and suppliers, and that would probably sum up my day. You get to do a lot of things.
So what type of career opportunities can a grad role in Alcoa lead to?
The good thing about Alcoa is that Alcoa has a career growth mindset, so you don't have to necessarily go straight up the ladder in rank. You can go horizontally, vertically, wherever you want to go. If there's an area that you haven't tried and you're interested in trying it, it's definitely worthwhile just letting your supervisor know, and they can do what they can to help you out and find opportunities for you. Even I know Alcoa has secondments for 6 months, 12 months that you can try out that sort of role and see what you think. And then if you're interested in getting a more full-time role in that area, then there's definitely opportunities there too.
So what do you think is probably the coolest thing or project that you've worked on so far as a grad at Alcoa?
I've been really lucky to have 2 rotations at the mine site and at the refinery. So within the mine site, I was able to work on $1 million capital projects, which was really cool, on a lot of the fixed plant equipment there at the mine site. I've also worked on a very big project where I am improving the overflow pipe work to one of the thickeners, and we're replacing one of the valves, and we're actually getting a trial, 6-month trial, to try these brand new valves out on the market, which is very exciting. So I've been really thrilled that I've been able to be a part of that as a project.
What type of learning and development opportunities do grads at Alcoa get access to?
With the Alcoa graduate program, there's the Australian Institute of Management training courses that everyone does over the course of the 3 years program. And you can look into dealing with conflict, improving your leadership skills, dealing with time management, and also presentation skills as well. That's very handy. In addition to this, graduates can get training courses approved if they think that it's suited to helping them and helping others as well. For example, I've been on many courses, bearing courses, pump courses, vibration analysis courses, even defensive driving courses as well. That's very useful, especially since we're driving to site each day. So definitely there's a lot of opportunities in regards to training and professional development as well.
At Alcoa as a grad, do you use any type of remote work, hybrid, or work from home model?
Currently, my role at Pinjarra, I'm working at site most days. You can have the occasional work from home day if you have any appointments scheduled, things like that. It's quite flexible. I know you have some days where you work from home, and it's mainly just chatting to your supervisor and just getting them to confirm if you can work from home or not. I know for a lot of the locations though, it is very flexible in that regard, which is very good.
What is your best piece of advice for any other students or grads wanting to really nail the graduate application process at Alcoa?
Probably my tip is to just practice, practice, practice in regards to responding to questions. Even if you haven't had interview opportunities from other companies, definitely get a family member or a friend to ask you questions. You can find heaps of interview sample questions online. You just give that a go and answer them. You have a set example to answer it. That's going to really help. For any interstate applicant as well, I would definitely recommend to be sure on whether you're relocating or not. That definitely helps as well.
What is the coolest fringe benefit that you get for working as a grad at Alcoa?
With Alcoa, you can get a leisure day off, which is an LDO in short, every month, which is very useful. In addition to that, we also have an Alcoa day, which is an extra day that you can take off at any time in the year. So it definitely makes things a lot more flexible if you're taking time off.
What is the number one reason why you would encourage other students and grads to also apply to the grad program at Alcoa?
With the Alcoa graduate program, I've noticed that the actual graduate community is really tight-knit and really close. We're basically a family, which is really nice. And that in itself has made me feel so much more comfortable and confident, knowing that there's people like me trying to learn the ropes as a young engineer. And in addition to this, we have graduate meetings once a month where we all meet up as a group and we set each of these days at different locations to learn about different areas that we might not know much about, and we get special guest presenters in. And finally, as well, we also have social events, probably roughly once every 3 to 4 months as well, where we go out and play mini golf, have a drink at the brewery and things like that. So it's definitely a very good community to be a part of.